Need to go live now. Boom, 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 boom. I never know when we're actually live, but I think we're live right now on YouTube. What's going on, everybody? Join Group 1, a.k.a. Chicago Joey here. Brand new Poker Live podcast, special Galfond Challenge edition. What is it like for a man to put himself out there, challenge the poker world, take on a few challenges, and the first challenge he plays, he's down $900,000. Well, we're going to certainly find out today. And also have Luke Schwartz writing pigeon fucking notes about you as well, too. We're going to find out today as well, guys. We're going to talk more about that upcoming podcast this Friday. We got my man Brad Owen on, 3 p.m. Eastern. Super excited to talk with him. He's killing the YouTube game. He's the vlog champion up there, hundreds of thousands of views. An incredible community of poker players all around the world. Meetup games with hundreds of people up there. This guy and Andrew Nemi are doing up there. So very excited to finally have Brad on my podcast Friday. Next week, I'm going to be doing a new series called My Biggest Pot Limit Omaha Hands Ever. I don't actually know what it's going to be called yet, but it's going to be something with my biggest pot limit Omaha hands. And that's going to be next week. That's it, guys. Let's get into this. Joining me today on the Poker Life podcast is a young man who, listen, he's been the talk of the poker world right now. Some better reasons than others, right? Some people have good things to say. Some people not so good things to say because of what's happened in this challenge. He issued the Galfond challenge, a heads-up match against 6 opponents. The first opponent, Veni Vedi, who I believe we're going to be doing some type of content with coming up here in the future. Me and Vinny are just trying to figure out what it might be in what form. He challenged Veni Vedi. Unfortunately, he's down $900,000 after about 15 sessions. And, people out there are talking. They're excited. They want to know more. They want to know how is Phil affording to pay the electricity still. So we're going to talk all about the challenge today. Joining me right now, we got the legend of the great game of Pot Limit Omaha and the poker world, Mr. Phil Galfond. Phil, thanks for taking the time out, my friend. How's it going up there, man? How you feeling right now?
I'm feeling all right, and happy to be here as always. Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
It was in short, it was a rough start. Break was helpful and necessary. And I feel okay. I feel all right.
So let's recap it for the people right now. So you issued the challenge. The first match started against Veni Vedi on your poker site, Run It Once Poker. You played about 15 sessions. You won 1 session. You lost 12. You tied 2. You had your biggest winning day, $80,000. And then you had followed by your biggest losing day, which just sort of seems like the catalyst that sent you down the path of maybe like, fuck, man, maybe I'm not playing my A game right now. I'm getting emotional. I'm tilting a little bit. And the poker world's been following along with it. I'm at the win. Everyone's asking me about it. My floor man, Joe. Shout out to my guy, Joe. Listen, man. He comes up to me, Phil. He's like, yo, Joey, can I talk to you for a second? I was like, yeah, man. What's up? Like, what's going on? He's like, I'm a little worried about Phil, man. Is he okay? Like, is he going to be all right? I said, damn. I mean, people are they're really concerned about you out here, brother. Yeah. I mean, so tell me how you're like, we've seen the notes, right? We've read the notes. You're putting the notes on Twitter, kind of giving people a little insight into your feelings. And obviously there's been a lot of thoughts about that from the community. So tell the people, how are you feeling right now at this point of the challenge with all eyes on you, the pressure on you to perform? What's going through your mind right now, brother, after a couple days off as well, too?
I've spent the last, I don't know how long it's been, a week, a little less. I haven't really been thinking about it too much. So I think, if I force myself to think about it, I still have some negative feelings associated with how it's gone, of course. And, I still have to decide if I want to continue this first challenge or throw in the towel and move on to the next. I'm planning over the next few days to kind of dig back into focusing on the challenge and reviewing hands and seeing, how he's playing, how I'm playing. To kind of help me make that decision. But right now, I don't know. I feel, definitely like emotionally recovered, but there's still the issue of, losing to this guy every day. Is it a good idea to keep playing him? So that's something I have to decide, but I feel fine.
So right now where we stand, you took a break. There were 6 challenge days left after your last announcement. You agreed to pay a 3,000 euro a day penalty, which comes out to whatever exactly that conversion is. I haven't done the conversion. I'm just going with USD in this challenge. I'm making it easy. I don't want to confuse all my American audience out there with the whole entire euro dollar. They're not going to know what's happening. So
Yeah.
We're saying down 18,000 United States dollars is what you're paying right now. And the big question people have is, why not just say, you know what, this first match is done. You win the $200,000 side bet. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, I almost did that, and actually, for a moment there, made the decision actually to quit the first challenge, and started writing up the note post about quitting the challenge. And while I was writing it, I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready to quit yet, and I realized I wasn't in the right mindset to decide. So obviously, 18,000 in penalties is a lot to pay, especially if, I might end up quitting the challenge anyways. But in the scheme of, we're playing 100, 200 PLO, there's $200,000 at risk on the side bet. It's pretty important to make the right decision, which obviously I can never really know what the right decision is, but in the grand scheme of things, the 18,000 is not gonna. I think it's a small price to pay to approach this, with a clear head and make the best decision, and not just because I'm down 900,000, but just even if I weren't, just in the grand scheme of things. I mean, 100, 200 is big.
So a lot of people would say, thinking about that, right? Well, we look at the results so far. We look at where Veni Vidi appears to be from a talent-wise, from a composure-wise, from a results-wise so far. They would say that, well, if this challenge continues to go on, why exactly will it be different here in the future? Now, obviously, I would say you are getting a couple weeks off here. Even though it's 6 challenge days, you did have an agreed-upon break in terms of where you're taking a trip with your family, so you agreed upon that time off. So it's not just the 6 days. It's actually about 2 weeks worth of time here that you're getting to clear your head. You can get to talk with people if you need to. You can get to work at your game. But a lot of people, and I might agree with this, might look at the results so far and say, well, it appears like Veni Vidi here has been pretty consistently working at his game now for a couple years and has a pretty well thought out strategy. Is this enough time for you to close the gap in terms of what it appears to be so far?
It's not enough time to close the gap. If I've been a significant underdog, then 2 weeks is not gonna make much of a difference in that. So, like, for me to even be considering it, I need to think that we're at least close in skill level, which obviously, like, it doesn't appear to the public to be the truth. And like, I don't want to, like, I want everybody to believe what they want to believe. I'm definitely, like, when I say that I think I definitely thought when we started, like, early on, I thought I had an edge. As it went on, I became less certain. I still kind of thought I did. Towards the end there, I think I did not, but in large part because I just wasn't playing my best. And the question is, do I think I can have an edge? That's the question I'm asking myself. Right. And I think for everybody out there watching, seeing the results, you have to think, absolutely no way, Phil. What are you even thinking? But I think if I decide to continue the challenge, that should be evidence enough that I believe that I can compete with him. And I don't expect people to believe that I'm right, but I think, like, something I said in my last note post on Twitter is, some people seem to be upset that I have tried to, like, claim that I have an edge, and I'm just kind of sharing, like, this is what I'm thinking about and what I'm considering, and I'm basing my assumptions on the way that we've each played and the hands that have shown down and things like that. And there's I think there's a chance I could be wrong, of course, and I think that the public should think there's a huge chance that I'm wrong. But I still am. I wouldn't say I'm confident, but certainly more confident in myself than the viewers should be.
Yeah, Phil. I mean, listen. Let me. I talked about this yesterday in my video about Luke Short's recent comments, and I think it's just incredibly I mean, disrespectful in a way from Luke to, and even a lot of other people to put it out there, say that, well, you know, the guy can't do it no more. The guy's not one of the best players, right? You've been proving yourself in the poker community at No Limit Hold'em, Pot Limit Omaha, tournament poker on every level of the game now for what, over 10 years, right? So to sit here and say like, you know, the guy's not good anymore at poker because you're losing a match 15 sessions in to one of the top PLO players right now in the entire world. I mean, I think it's a little ridiculous to make that statement, right? And people say, is the guy delusional, right? That's what I keep hearing. Is he in denial? Is he delusional? I mean, this is the kind of confidence that you need. And of course, this confidence gets you in trouble sometimes when you run bad, when you play bad, when you aren't better than the other person. And this is what makes poker beautiful, is that everyone sort of has that confidence about themselves that they can beat anyone at any given time. And the reason why you've gotten to this point in your career, the reason why you've decided to start a business where you're starting a damn poker site, is because you have that confidence in yourself, in your ability to get better, in your ability to perform when the pressure's on you. So it would be, you know, if you didn't have that right now, I would be surprised. But at the same time, we can obviously understand where people are coming from when they say, like, is this guy crazy? Like, is he looking at the results?
Sure.
Is he looking at the hands? So on one hand, we got that idea, and I can understand. The other hand, we got where you're coming from, and ultimately, we don't really know where things stand right now. But as you said, to the public, right? All the public sees is the results, man. They see the results. They see the anonymous European figure bashing down Phil Galfond, and they say, like, man, clearly this dude's better. So what can you really do here moving forward if you choose to keep playing Vinny? That is going to give you a better chance. And if you get back into the match and you lose some money, at what point do we think about really pulling the plug for good?
Yeah. No, good questions. I mean, look, I don't, well, actually, so Vinny is on vacation coming up, but I've been with family most of the last week too. So I don't think that like that I'm going to be spending more time on my game than he is during this break. And I don't think that a gap can be closed that much, with the exception of like clearing my head and not playing my C game. Yeah, there's not a lot that can be done in a couple weeks. I think maybe there's more for me than for him because he's been playing for, you know, years straight and I haven't been. So, you know, in terms of how long I've been working on my game in the last several years, a week or two is actually a, you know, non-negligible amount of time. But no, if he was much better than me, he's still going to be much better than me.
Right.
When we get back to it. And as far as, you know, when, like the decision whether or not to quit, there are really two major factors. One is, you know, distance from even, because even being down this much, there's still like a fraction, a little bit of EV in not giving up the side bet. Like I'm a big underdog to win the side bet, even if we play all 25,000 hands, and even if I'm the stronger player, which nobody should believe. But there's always the chance, like that's worth a little bit. So the further you get from break even, the less that matters. And then of course it's just like evaluating play and his play and my play. And it's tough because, you know, you can look at results. It's tough because results matter. Results matter, and looking at the way he plays hands, at the way I'm playing my hands, also matter. And it's tough to decide how much weight to give to each, because I look through the hands. I definitely catch myself making mistakes, and fewer kind of as it went on, but then more at the end. But I see him making mistakes too. And I still feel like going through the hands and looking at the way each of us are playing, I still feel relatively confident. But then when you look at the results, obviously there are variants in results, but it makes it like, it shifts the probabilities of you know, what you think based on looking at the hands. It's kind of like, you have to look at the results and say, well, how much do I trust my analysis of the way we're each playing. How much do I trust my experience in judging myself versus other people? And on the one hand, I have done it for a long time, but on the other hand, I haven't done it lately. So yeah, they're all factors, I think. So like, if I decide to continue, there's no magic number where like, if I lose 400,000 more, that's when I'm going to quit.
Right.
Or,
You'll just kind of you'll kind of feel it out, and you'll.
And it's even possible, like, let's say that I come back and play more and I win 150,000, but then I change my mind about like who's better, like, and like, maybe I win 150,000, but I'm like, oh, I just ran hot and he's outplaying me left and right, and then I just quit then. So it's not necessarily based on how much I win or lose. It's kind of all the factors together.
Okay, I think that makes sense to a lot of people out there. I mean, we've seen the interest in this challenge, right, Phil? And right now we
just
got
imagine what the interest would be if it was a close match with some back and forth.
I mean, you know what? I think I think about that too. Obviously, I'd like to see a little bit better of a competitive match. I think we'd all like to see that, but at the same time, it's also very interesting. Now, I mean, we got 1,640 people watching on YouTube right now. We got more people watching on Twitch. The interest is there when I'm making the challenge videos, the recap videos. You're putting out the notes. You're talking about your feelings. I think the poker community. I thought most people were appreciating the notes. Obviously, some maybe not appreciating the notes, right? They're like, oh my God, he's writing notes. I mean, how dare he talk about how he feels? I mean, listen, right? You could talk about how you feel. And I do got to take a little partial blame for that a little bit, right? Because I was telling you during the challenge, I go, Phil, you got to tell these people how you're feeling, buddy. Like,
you did.
You're getting like, it's not going well. Like, let's give them some insight. Let's give them into your mindset, right? Because I think that's what people really want to know. But if you're just playing on the stream, they don't know how you're feeling and doing. Like, they might lose some interest. And I know one of our big goals for this challenge is to generate interest around what's happening with things, right? So you've been doing that. You've been putting yourself out there. You've been really getting deep into your mindset about how you deal with downswings and how you think about where you stand right now. And I guess let's talk about that, right? So you went into dealing with the downswings, but why don't you expand on that a little bit further? Again, your last note, you talked about when you had your winning day, and then you had the hope was still there, and then you had a really bad losing day, and then the hope sort of started to fade away, and the depression kind of set in when you just weren't running bad and things weren't going your way.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we started out, right, I was losing right away, but
they're commenting on the jug. Sorry.
But I felt pretty good. I felt pretty good about how I was playing. And a lot of my my emotional state was, for the first while, dictated, on how well I thought I played the day or days prior. Because, when we've played 3,000 hands, there's still 22,000 hands left. And like, the results at that point don't matter. And as we approach, like, now we're almost at 10,000 hands. Now it's like, well, 10,000 hands down 45 buy-ins. The 15,000 hands isn't enough time to like, like, I'm like very likely to lose the challenge, even if I were the stronger player by quite a bit. So part of that, like, that wears on you, but really for the first while, I was not deterred at all. Like, I was losing, but it was just early. There's so much challenge left. Not only is there so much challenge left, but there are other challenges afterwards. So, it's, you always give and get the advice of like, it's just one long session. You go into today and don't worry about today's results because it's all one long session. And the kind of nice thing about a challenge like this, where it's 25,000 hands, 35,000 hands, is, when you start out, you can see that you're like, yeah, I played 1,000 out of 35,000 hands or 25,000 hands. It's not that big a deal. It is all one long session. So that helped me, I think, in the beginning quite a bit. And I really don't think I tilted for, I don't know, the first like 10, 11 sessions. It really wasn't until the last couple. And even like, you mentioned the day that I lost like 260 some thousand, and that was right after my first real winning day.
Right.
That was probably the most the most frustrated that I felt, like, emotionally speaking. I still think I played okay, but that was the most like the most emotional I felt while playing, I guess I would say. And then the next 2 days, are really like my play the next 2 days are what made me start contemplating quitting and then end up making this decision. I wasn't, I don't know how to describe it. Like I wasn't super emotional, like feeling a lot in game. I wasn't like getting heated, but I was playing scared.
Oh.
And I could tell that there were plays that I should have made that I didn't. And I was kind of just, I was used to running into big hands with kind of big hands. And so I started to fear that would happen a lot more, and it made me play worse. And that happened for a couple of days in a row, I think. And that's when there was really only, like, I don't think getting like losing a pot and getting really upset and tilted in that respect, like, I don't really think that happens to me very often, and it didn't happen much, but it was kind of like I don't know the term for it, but just seeing, I bet he raises, I fold, I bet he raises, I call and lose. I jam river with the fourth nuts, he has the nuts. Mm-hmm. Like seeing that so many times, I just started to expect it too often. And that's what made me play worse for sure.
It's interesting, right? Because when you're in the downswing and when your confidence is shaken a little bit, and even when you have that win and now you regain that more hope, and then you have the big loss, and it's like, oh my God, I just mentally got myself out of that, and now here I am back in here deeper. And when we start playing scared and questioning our plays, sometimes that can work to our advantage if we're against players who are making some more mistakes. But when you're playing against a guy who is putting the pressure on you constantly, where you have no time to really sit back, breathe, regroup. This isn't Ring, right? We're not playing nine-handed at the 5-10 game at the Ari or anything like that, right? This is 2 tables heads up against a guy who's putting pressure on you consistently all the time. It's requiring you to use your mental energy and think very deeply about all these things in the past and what's going on now on a constant basis. So there's really no time to rest and recover, and you're playing 3, 4, 5-hour sessions here some days. So once you get in that mind where you start doubting yourself, man, and then you lose more, it can really, really pile up, and that's where you could potentially see some real big losing results as well too, man. It's tough, right? I don't think people understand exactly what a heads up challenge is, because most people have never played heads up, because a lot of guys out there that are watching this are just live players, and they go to the local casino, or they play in the home games, or they play a couple tables on an online poker site, but they don't really know what it means to be playing this competitive back and forth 2-table heads up match.
Yeah. And one thing that kind of just occurred to me that's made it so tough is, whether or not whoever's a favorite, he's run hot. Like I've run poorly, whether or not he's better than me, because he's winning at like 45 BB per 100, which is not I don't think that's an achievable win rate against somebody who's at least pretty good. But I haven't obviously studied as much as probably a player like Vinny, I'm assuming. And I haven't, I never was a big studier. And what I was a big strength of mine was reading opponent tendencies, getting inside their head. And a lot of that comes down to pattern recognition. Right. And it's a little bit subconscious. You see so many hands, you see like, okay, he bet this amount in this spot with this hand, and I saw it show down, or he bet this amount and then folded. And I'm not like actively keeping tabs on that, but over time, like subconsciously, I'm building up, good pattern recognition. And that's always been a strength of mine. And when you're playing against somebody who's making a lot of hands, your pattern recognition gets thrown off, because I'm like, okay, he bet that amount, he had the nuts. Oh, he did this, he had the nuts. And just like my pattern recognition is just like, it's skewed because the results are skewed. And that's obviously a failing of pattern recognition, right, in a high variance game, as a skill set.
People in the chat are talking about, I mentioned this to you yesterday, right? I feel like we need to bring some excitement, some hype, and some energy back on the side of the Phil Galfond. And I was saying, I messaged you last night. I said, are you in Vegas? Because I'd like to go record a video with you where we basically remake that Rocky We make the Rocky scene where he's running around Philadelphia. We get you. I might just have to come to fucking Vancouver, to be honest with you, bro. We're going to run through Vancouver, right? I'll bring my stick out there. We'll sit down with the charts, with the hands pointing at you. Dent. We just get you fired up on a consistent basis, man. I feel like we need to bring that kind of back up. We go to Russia a little bit. We're running through snow. We're pushing fucking tires through the snow. We got Farrah and little baby on the sidelines watching, cheering you on. Baby's got his hands up with the jug in his hands, drinking up some little milk or whatever the kid drinks. I'm not sure what a kid like him drinks. Yeah. And we bring some hype back to this, man. We need some excitement back. And even for maybe moving forward, right? We got the Perkins Challenge coming up next. Obviously, right, the Perkins Challenge will be significantly less, a significantly easier match theoretically, right?
Yeah. It's a much different
anything's
beast,
possible. Anything's possible, but we have that coming up too. So we still have to look forward to the long game here. We still got the next challenges coming up as well, and it's a long way to go, man. We got 5 more challenges left. We got the Pigeon Hunter, Luke Schwartz. He's on deck for number 7. Hopefully he doesn't back out. He puts his fucking money where his mouth is after he writes a 2-page note where he's just going in on you, calling you LeBron James. So it's a long way to go. And ultimately, this challenge with Vinny and the thought and the study you've had to put in, it's going to greatly prepare you to handle these guys in the future and be much more well-equipped. And then at the end, when me and you have our showdown, right? I mean, listen, I'm going to be ready for it, right? I'm going to have played about 85% less heads up PLOs, but you still got to bring your A game, man. So listen, I'm glad you're getting in these reps against Veni Vidi because I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready to take you on, man. Final boss here. Yeah. And might need to lower stakes a little bit. I'm not trying to lose $1 million or anything like that. I don't have the endless pile of money.
It's unlikely that at 100, 200 you lose $1 million, but I've managed to. So it is possible.
But yeah, man, basically, either way, this is going to benefit you moving forward just in terms of the skill and the experience that you're gaining from playing a top-level opponent like a Veni Vidi.
Yeah, to be honest, after having taken so much time off of poker, essentially, and spending so much time on the business, it didn't, like, occupy the front of my mind, but I would, sometimes think and get sad, like, oh, I'm probably never going to be, like, competing with the best of the best again. Like, that time is, but at least I had that time in my life, and most people don't get to do that. It's cool that I did, but that's probably not going to happen again. So when the challenges started, who knows whether or not I will get good enough to actually be beating these guys or have an edge on them, but at least I've got outs too. I've got a chance of getting back to something that I didn't think I would get back to again.
And in retrospect, do you think that it was a smart idea to choose Vinny first? Because a lot of people out there, have made a lot of questions. I want to thank them a lot on Twitter, 2+2, on my Instagram story, because they had a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts, and things they wanted to know. One of the biggest questions people have is, why the hell would you have chosen Veni Vidi first when this guy's so experienced? And in retrospect, would you have done that again?
So Vinny was a tough negotiator. I was talking to all these people individually, and it's tough to schedule people, and it's tough to scheduling was really tough. And Vinny was very interested in playing first or early for the obvious reasons. He said, basically I'm going to be a weaker player at the beginning than I am at the end of 4 months of heads up. And so that was, could I have pushed and gotten him later? Maybe. But I also didn't have anybody else ready to go first or early. So yeah, just juggling scheduling and negotiating, that's how it happened this way. No, it wasn't ideal to start with him, but it wasn't ideal, but it was kind of my only option, I think, or at least given all the people I was talking to and the factors in play.
You don't think, because I know you wanted to get started with it sooner than later. Do you think it may have been a good idea to maybe hold off on it a month or two or anything like that? Or was it something, because I know you wanted to get this out there and you wanted to help promote Run It Once Poker, your site, which is one of the main challenges of this. But obviously you wanted to test yourself and you wanted to play against great competition, as you just said. And you wanted to see exactly where you still stood at when it came to that as well too. So
Yeah.
I know there was a multiple factors that went into your decision to want to get this going, and I think you got initially you mentioned the challenge was for one reason, you wanted to challenge other coaches, and then and then that turned into its own little thing once you saw the excitement and people kind of wanting to play. So did you think maybe hold off in retrospect, or are you still fine with sort of how it went?
It definitely would have been higher EV to wait and get more prep in, but yeah, it's just it's tough with scheduling. So I'm here in Vancouver until mid to late May, and I was excited to fit in as many as I could into that time frame. And so waiting an extra month to get started was not ideal. Of course, now what's happened is I've taken a couple of weeks off, which is not what I had planned to do or wanted to do at any point. But yeah, it certainly would have been higher EV to wait a little bit. But like you said, I wanted to fit a lot of challenges in, and I wanted to start promoting Run It Once Poker and get those streams going, get people on the site. So I don't know. Once again, it's really tough to, like, in hindsight, look at whether or not things were good decisions, because it hasn't gone like this. This isn't the average outcome, I think. I've run poorly, and that adds to a lot of things too, because whether I've run very bad or just a little bit bad, when you're losing, you play worse. When you're winning, you play better, at least for most people. And so there are a lot of different ways it could have gone. I think, which people should not agree, that I could have just as easily been winning at this point in the challenge, and wouldn't be questioning whether or not I should have started.
That's true.
So yeah, no, I think higher EV in the challenge had I started later, but less time to play challenges, so I'd have to drop some, and then starting to promote Run It Once later. So I don't know. I'm fine with the decisions I made.
Let's talk about the Run It Once, right? So Peter Jennings and a bunch of other people that's my guy, Peter Jennings. I want to give a shout out to him. The guy was just golfing with Tiger Woods. I mean, listen, I don't know what this guy's doing. I'm watching him. He's at a golf course with Tiger Woods. He's with the Condoleezza Rice.
Really?
I don't really know the history of my girl Condoleezza Rice, but I mean, he's with Tiger Woods. I know Tiger Woods, man. So shout out to my guy Peter, always doing great work, always working hard, always gambling up there. Big DFS guy, Fantasy Labs, Action Network, kind of out there doing a lot of great work. He said as all the promotion from the challenge increased the player base much at Run It Once Poker, and I think that's a good question. I know my man Todd Wattelis sent me that on Twitter for some questions as well too. So what's been happening here, man? Are more people playing on the site? Are more signups in action? Do we got liquidity going? What's the deal here?
Yeah, we've been steadily increasing since basically the beginning of December. Beginning of December, or like end of November, we launched the Legends program, which people really liked. It really increased the volume of our existing players and got us new signups or kind of reactivations, and traffic picked up quite a bit. In January, it picked up again, even before the challenges started, and then picked up again once the challenges started. So yeah, it's been great, kind of all those things combined for traffic. And I'm hoping there's been a slight lull since the challenges stopped. Not too bad, just been like a week of dipping slightly back down. So I need to get back in there and get those streams going. But yeah, I'm hoping we can keep the momentum going with just continued promotions. I mean, we're giving away a lot of stuff. We're giving away a lot of money. So like right now we have February is our birth month. We launched last February. And so from now till the end of February, we're giving away free €10 to anybody who hasn't created an account yet.
A free what? A free what? Sorry.
€10, $10. But in...
Yeah, see, listen, the whole euro, okay, 10,
yeah.
10 United States dollar, 10 USD equivalent. It's approximate, right? It's not exactly 10, but it's around, right? We're making it easy for the guys.
I think it's closer to 11. But
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't opened up an account yet, you can do that now. Don't have to deposit. You just get $10 free. And
so wait a sec. So if we go to Run It Once Poker right now, open an account, $10 free, right?
Yeah.
But you can't be American. Look at that. Sorry, guys. Yeah, 55% of my demographic just can't do it. Unless you go to Canada. I mean, listen, it's not a far trip away for you guys. So Mexico, really Tijuana, whatever. It is what it is. Go to a house, whatever. Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that. Then there's for first-time depositors, which you can qualify for both of these. So if you haven't created an account, you get the free 10. If you have created an account but haven't deposited, you can't get that, but you can get a 50% instant deposit bonus up to $50, in addition to your 100% deposit bonus, which is like it's like the deposit bonus is the traditional one is you release over time.
Right.
So you get that for 100%, and then you also get 50% up to $50 instant.
So what you're saying is there's no reason not to deposit. You check it out. You support Phil. You support the cause, right? You just throw 10 on there. Go sign up, right? Just play a fucking hand, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Just go on there, check it out. You know, you got one guy who wants to provide a good product, a good service for the community, and that's going to take time, and it's going to take years, and it's going to take support from the community as well. And then you have other companies out there who, you know, we've seen where they stand with things. And while they may have a great product now, we've seen where their stance lies in the future. And they're trying to change the name of what poker actually is in some ways. And you have one guy who wants to continue keeping poker what we've known poker to be. And you have other companies out there who'd like to see it more of a casino style game where only the house profits versus the actual players profiting, and a different experience altogether. So I think from my eyes, when I see it, right, I think that's a cause worth supporting. And I think that's something to stand behind as well, too. And while there might be issues with that people have with things, and they want to play tournaments and they want to play sit and goes, and those aren't available right now, they will be in the works, and they will be coming over time as well, too. And it's a very long process, and you're starting from a certain point with brand new software, and everyone else is starting from a point where they've been doing this for quite a long time, and it's already been established. So it's just a challenge that's going to take some time.
Yeah, no, well said. And we've made a lot of progress in a year, but I always want more. There's always there's a lot more to be made over the next year.
For sure.
And the last thing I didn't finish, just because also we're giving back more Rake back this month. It's 51% now through Splash the Pot, which is what we launched with, but we didn't launch with the Legends program.
Okay.
When we added Legends, we reduced it to 30% through Splash the Pot, and then 10 to 45 through Legends. So now for the rest of the month, it's 51% through Splash the Pot, 10 to 45 through Legends. So 61 to 96% Rake back for the rest of the month, depending on what you qualify for in the Legends program. And actually, it's more than that, because if you play shorthanded, you get multipliers. So
nice.
Yeah, it's just
if you're a cash game player, it sounds great. Yeah. You able to make money doing this, or what? I mean, is this like is this something where you take a loss for a while, and then year 5 you hope to make some money, or how does this sort of work?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's sooner than year 5, but you do take a loss for a while, and the reason that we kind of can keep or decide to keep throwing money at people like we are is because such a key part of a poker platform is liquidity and traffic. And if we don't have a lot of traffic, then when new people show up, it's a bad product because they have nothing to play. And so it's just so important right now to increase our traffic and keep people coming back, keep new people coming in, so that when new people show up, they have a game to play. When our existing customers show up, they have a game to play. Right. Because if they don't, then we lose them. So right now it's all about building that player base, and that's where we're at. I hope it's, like I said, I hope it's not 5 years before we're breaking even month to month, but it will take some time.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe doing, now that I'm getting back into the poker swing of things with content, I'm going to stick around here for the foreseeable future. I was thinking about maybe I do, I don't know, right? Get on Running Once Poker, do a little bankroll challenge, hop in the mix. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just thinking right, what are some ways I can personally kind of get out there? I've been trying to do it from the content end and trying to just provide these little recap videos. And we got my man Moonlight Master up there. He's been putting up highlights as well on his channel immediately after each day, and I believe that's going to continue forward as well. Big shout out to my guy Moonlight Master, who's just a kid, right, who decided, I love this challenge, I love what Phil's doing, I want to support. You got the challenge highlights coming up on the Run It Once channel a couple days later as well too, where you can find it as well. So I'm trying to just think more from my end, right? Like what we complain a lot about what other people aren't doing. Well, I start thinking about what can I actually do about it versus talking about what other people aren't doing about it too. So as a cash game player, I think that would be something that away. But I've been thinking about that, man. Yeah, get out of the country a little bit. Maybe go back to Vancouver. I ain't been there in a few years, and kind of get in the run of one's poker street. See what this whole avatar nonsense is all about. But Phil, you got to add commas, bro. I don't know about bro. What is up with no commas on the poker software? Can we fucking put a comma?
It wasn't. Nobody was playing high stakes. So
I need commas, Phil, in the bet sizes. So. I can't. I'm like, how much is that? 2,000, 22,000. I'm struggling with my 34 years old now, Phil. I need commas. You know what I mean? We're getting a little old man here, so.
Commas are coming.
Commas are coming. All right, you guys smash that like button out there if you guys want to see me. I mean, listen, we got 2,000 people watching out there, man. Give your support.
You got to do it, Joey.
Give your support for the channel. Subscribe for more content coming up, guys. I'm really excited to be making poker content again. I got some really great stuff I really want to try. Let me know what you think about the new overlay here. I've decided, hey, maybe I take my business a little more seriously and we start upping the production value. Shout out to my girlfriend. She put this nice lemon tree back here in the back. I mean, look at that tree. I mean, my God, 3 lemons on them. Ready to eat a lemon right now. So big shout out to her. We got the plaque up on the wall, the 100K YouTube plaque. We got the 50,000 hands article when I played 50,000 hands in a day back in the day in 2009. It seems so long ago.
You have to give that sunlight, right? The lemon tree.
Exactly. So what we do is we open that up and bam, the light comes on the lemon tree there. So, but we can't. It don't look that good during the show, so we got to keep it closed right now. So man, but I mean, it's good to be getting back in the swing of things, man, and kind of. I love this challenge.
Good to have you back.
Yeah, man. I mean, you were trying to get me back, and
I was.
You were definitely. Listen, Phil was texting me about once a week for a couple of months. He's like, bro. I'm gonna do a challenge, right? Like, we've been talking about this for a while. Like, let's an event, something happening, man. This is made for you. And I'm like, I'm studying. I'm watching videos 6 hours a day. I'm just studying all day. And then I came back. I'm like, oh my God, a challenge! Like, I gotta help bring the hype back to this because, there ain't many people that like to hype things up and get excited about things. And I feel like this is one of the most epic things we've really seen. Is just a guy saying, fuck it, I'm gonna start playing a bunch of people and see what happens here for the sake of my career and my poker site. And we got a bunch more questions, so let me kind of move on to one which I've heard a lot. Is that, do you think Veni Vidi is cheating? Do you think he's using some type of real-time solver software? Or are you worried or are you scared about that because the highest stakes, and obviously people have talked about that, is that a concern on your end?
I mean, So Vinny's played high stakes on PokerStars for a long time.
Green.
I hadn't heard any suspicions of him cheating in any way. The way that I've lost has been mostly through to me, the way that I've lost, it's been I've been pretty unlucky. If I felt like I was not being unlucky and he was just absolutely making every decision perfectly, then I, might be suspicious. But nothing about I don't have evidence that he's not, but nothing about the way he's playing. He's playing how I expected him to be playing. And I don't think he's nothing about the way he's playing is suspicious to me. He's just playing like a good regular. So obviously I am not saying that there's no chance that he is, but there's no evidence to me that anything like that's going on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's worthwhile to even really obsessed over that idea much, right? It's no good. There's not much good can come from it. And, but it's something I've heard a lot of people discuss. How can you know? How do you know? People who are a little bit more uneducated are just unsure of how things work, and they've heard people talk about it. So they're concerned about it. And I think it's a fair concern, and it's something to be worried about. And you obviously are on that end of things. So you can kind of figure out, and hopefully you can look more into it and stuff like that. I don't know. I know other sites use other things where they can detect if people are using certain programs in real time, and then they can ban you if you're using these programs that break their TOS on their sites. So I imagine Run It Once says something like that, or what's the deal with that? Yeah,
they do. I mean, I now am because I started playing on Run It Once, I get a little more detached from the some of the internal things, including our process. So I can't talk to them about any kind of it would be unfair for me to talk to them about anything regarding game integrity with this challenge, because that would be an unfair advantage for me being a site owner. But well, because imagine if I was hey guys, can you Vinny's raising a lot of rivers against me, and I'm folding.
Can you tell me what he has?
Can you? Tell me what he has so I can figure out if I should be suspicious. So yeah, no, I can't do any of that. I think though, like for me, right, if he were using real-time software, then when I looked through all the hands, he would be making, for the most part, optimal decisions, and I wouldn't catch any like mistakes.
Right.
And if he were like could see my cards or something, then you'd see some kind of like crazy I don't know, you'd just be making the right decision all the time in big pots.
What is that? Is that what someone would do if they could see her? Interesting.
No, not well, like
I mean, I may have seen that.
So there's no evidence that I can see that he's doing anything other than playing very well, like I expected.
Okay. Be a hell of a something if someone could see your cards and they were playing against you, huh? It'd be crazy.
It'd be pretty bad. It would.
Imagine the kind of plays a guy like that would be making, huh? Imagine the river success rate and the decisions they made. What it would be. I mean, we never seen anything like that before.
No.
I mean, it's not even. It's a preposterous idea. I mean, I can't even explain that idea. Whatever. Let's move on. So, listen, buddy, Luke Schwartz, right? Let's talk about this, okay? So, my man, Luke Schwartz, right? Now, I don't know. Phil, I was speculating on this, and I don't mean to put the conspiracy theory out there, but I saw Luke on Twitter, right? Shout out to Luke, man. I went to the video yesterday. I broke down all the comments, talked more about it. I thought it was fucking hilarious, right? The guy's a funny guy. I mean, we need characters like that. I love the character. He's coming out, pigeon, this, that, whatever, man. I like the fucking guy. I think he's entertaining. Don't always agree with what he has to say, but I don't think you need to agree with what the guy's got to say, okay? But I did see Luke meeting with America's Card Room recently, and I don't know, maybe he's working for ACR. This is their like secret plan to bring down Runaway. I mean, I don't know. Could it be, right? I don't think so, but you never know. But then also, I'm kidding. But also then Luke talked about how he wants to help you save your site. So I was like, well, I guess that conspiracy theory might not be true. That's probably not a good one. So, but Luke wrote a message, right? He wrote a bunch of stuff about you. I don't know why exactly he did this. It was his idea of trying to build up hype. He said, if you still want to play, even though you guys have texted privately and already agreed to play, I believe. So what are your thoughts on my man Luke Schwartz writing out a letter about you and the comments he had to say about you, Mr. Nice Guy, all these kind of things like that?
I thought it was funny that he called me nice while he was bashing me. Luke is Luke, and it kind of doesn't like. I don't know. He could basically say anything, and it wouldn't faze me because it's like I just expect it from him. It doesn't really like. So Tommy Angelo said something to me once that like I'm still not zen enough to feel, but he says like people get so upset when they're at the airport and their flight gets delayed. When like I don't, your flight, that's like a common outcome is your flight gets delayed. So why are you surprised by something that happens somewhat often happening? Like why does that affect you? Why does that upset you? And he says the same thing about like if you know some guy who's just like going to be an asshole and is saying something to you that is upsetting, like why does that upset you? Why are you surprised? And I'm not as zen as Tommy Angelo, but Luke likes to trash talk. And I mean, like it is fun for the community and it builds hype, and I think that my match against him is going to be exciting for the community to watch, even though it's mixed games, which nobody really cares to watch. It'll still be fun because he is Luke. Right. So I obviously I have different approaches to life, but but whatever. It certainly doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to have, like I said, it's good to have the characters like Luke around poker, and he might be saying some things, and it isn't necessarily fun when you're the person that he's calling names. I mean, listen, he did say you're no LeBron James, right? And I mean, fabulous take by Luke on that one, right? And Phil's not LeBron James. I mean, sure, all right, LeBron James, second best player of all time, currently and debatably near his peak still of powers, right? So, right, I guess we can agree with that. Are you who basketball player? Do you watch a lot of basketball? Was there a basketball player
I don't
you
watch
compare
a lot of
yourself
basketball
to?
Player. No.
Yeah.
But no, I'm much shorter than LeBron.
That's true. You're right. Yeah, that's 6'7", 6'8". You're about what? How tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
What do we think about you versus Luke? Maybe you versus Luke in like I don't know, whatever. So you guys are going to play the mixed games though, correct? That's going to happen though?
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll happen after summer as of right now?
as of right now, that's the plan. Yeah, we'll see. It's so tough to schedule these challenges because they depend on when I can finish them, and but then also other people have to be available, and so yeah, that's the current rough plan is after WSOP.
Okay. I think people are definitely looking forward to that, even though they aren't necessarily going to know what's happening with stud or what's happening
Yeah,
with all those kind of things like that. So they might not understand what's happening. So
they'll see the results, and
trying to think if Luke said anything else when you really need to talk about. Not really. I mean, just kind of talked some shit, said some things, called you, didn't say you're not as good as you used to be or something like that. But I mean, for the most part, it was just kind of normal stuff. He did call my man Mike Gorodinsky something about him commenting on who Harry was and stuff like that, and challenged him to play and said he could get backers for something. I don't really know exactly what he's talking about, but
yeah,
it was one hell of a message. So
it was the one thing I was surprised by. So like Luke has always like talk trash but I'd never seen him write like a long post. He's always just like fires off a tweet or two. But I'd never seen him
that was
in long form.
That was intense. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke really. But the thing, the community kind of got behind it. You know, people thought it was funny. Some thought it was out of line. Some was like, oh, I'm glad someone said the truth. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Finally, somebody said it. Thank God for Luke Schwartz, the truth teller of 2020 poker world. I mean, it's like, what the fucking guy really say? I mean, come on. What was he saying out there? You know what I mean? But that's what makes this fun, man. It's exciting, right? Some people think this, they think that. There's all these thoughts in the middle. They come together. This is what makes things fun and exciting to watch, man. If it was that easy and you were just kind of going straight up, maybe I guess that wouldn't be bad.
That'd be all right. But yeah. No, there's it'd be good like at the beginning of like when I was down like 400K, I was like, this is perfect because like now I make a comeback and it's just like an awesome story and like, you know, really fun to watch. But now that I'm probably not going to make a comeback, it's too big of a downswing. So not ideal. It's not how I scripted it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Well, I mean, me and Luke might do some in the future. I know he's kind of out there. It looks like he's working for Solve for Why. I saw him with Jeff Gross the other day. Maybe he's working with Party. It looks like Luke's just trying to keep all his options out there with all the sites and getting out there, getting his name out there. I mean, I think me and him talked one time. He talked about wanting to start a podcast. I would, I think all people might want to watch Luke Schwartz podcast if he started his own pod. I mean,
be popular probably.
It'd be a lot of pigeon discussion and bunch of Luke Schwartz words. I don't really know what he'd say. So let's kind of move on. Next topic here. So about your wife, man. Your wife, Farrah Galfond, obviously been a big supporter of you as well. She's been out there on Twitter battling the trolls who have negative things to say. I remember one comment, you posted something and she responded, and then some guy said, Phil, do you let your wife talk to you that way? And then, it's just the most ridiculous comments I've seen on Twitter, which is, that's saying something. Then she had a great tweet, and I think people really have enjoyed seeing this supportive relationship you and your wife have. So talk a little bit about how she's handling what's happening with the downswing, with sort of the emotional roller coaster that you're on with things.
I mean, she's in some, like, she's probably taken it harder than me or maybe probably harder than me because, she doesn't like seeing me lose or like upset about, she knows that like, as much as like probably doesn't come across in my personality, I'm a competitive person, and I care a lot about, I try hard at something, I'd like to succeed at. It matters to me. So she's been sad for me, and it's also tough for her because like she's not she's not a PLO player. She can't look and be like, I mean, she sees what the community sees, which is like Phil's getting wrecked by this guy every day, So she's always like, she's supportive, but she's just like, Phil, are you sure this, like, are you sure that because it just looks like, maybe it's not going well.
True.
And, but then if I say, yeah, trust me, I'm doing what I'm making responsible decisions. She's like, okay, yeah, I trust you. But yeah, it's been tough for her. She's now told me that she's taken the approach of she expects me to lose every single challenge so that she can't get disappointed. It's just like she can only be pleasantly surprised. So she's predicting 0 for 6.
Wow.
or 0 for 7, I guess, including Luke. So
Wow.
if I win one, then she's going to be pleasantly surprised. But she's very supportive. She's always been very supportive in every kind of way, and especially on Twitter with trolls.
Is she, so during the challenge, is she helping you refill the water jug? I mean, that's a big ass water jug, and I understand it'd be challenging to drink all that during one session, and you might have to pee a lot in the whatever, however, whatever your choice of going to the bathroom is when during these challenges. Yeah. But is she bringing food? Are we eating during the challenge? Like, are you just like what's the process? Like, are you locked in? Are you, because I know when I get into my long sessions, right, I got the bottles are by the side, right? We got the jugs of water all around. Maybe you got a snack bar or something you're chowing down on or something like that. What's sort of the process like during these?
It's a funny things? Snack bar motion. But I don't eat during the challenge. I just drink water, and she's busy with the baby. She's trying to keep him from being too loud, and she's hanging with the baby, giving me my space to focus on playing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty cool, man. It sounds like, I think a lot of people enjoy watching the relationship, because we've got a lot of poker players out there whose significant other or family might not be that supportive about what they do, and when they want to say, hey, like, I'm going to dedicate my entire energy to this challenge, right? A lot of significant others are going to be like, what about me? What about like us? Yeah. And that's very fair. I understand, not putting that down, because I can completely understand that desire and the needs that another person has. So I think a lot of people admire that sort of togetherness that you two have, in terms of saying, hey, we're together, let's do this, let's make it happen, let's try to do our best. And I understand that for this next period of time, I might not see you that much or have much of your attention or energy, but in the long run, we're together. We're still going to be a team. We still have our family, and ultimately, it'll be it'll be something that makes us stronger, and something that we can look back on and really, be proud of. We tried out or went through or we learned from.
Yeah, no, she's extremely supportive. I'm very lucky, and I mean, we have basically, I mean. Yeah, we discussed what would work for both of us. So what we have is, like, I finish up every day at 4 p.m. and then I spend a couple hours with them before the baby goes to bed, and then a couple hours with her before we go to bed. And then Sundays are off, their family day. And she's like, as long as I get that time, then yeah, do your thing, and I got your back.
Yeah, the chat's worried. If Farrah's prediction comes true, right, or how is the baby going to go to college, right? I mean, are you going to? I'd be more than happy to donate some money to the college fund. I don't mind, right? I think in the baby's ready for college, I'll be doing a little bit better business wise now that I've been researching how to actually make money from what I do. So I'm more than happy to start a Kickstarter to send the kid to whatever college they want to go to personally. But is the kid's inheritance, is his money, or is he trouble? Because people are really worried about that, Phil. You don't understand. Number one question.
We should start a Kickstarter, electricity fund and college fund for Spencer.
People are really want to know. They've been Googling Farrah's name, and it says she's got like $150 million. So people are like, they've been so does Farrah really have $150 million? I'm like, well, she was on a daytime. Like, they must pay them a lot. I mean, maybe they're making $10 million a year. I don't know about it. So is there any? Can we address that? Like the $150 million? I mean.
Farrah does not have $150 million now.
Okay, yeah, it was strange. I mean, there's been screenshots going around. She's got $150 million. I mean, so I'm like, God damn. I mean, I don't know.
At least I hope not, because she's hiding it from me, as she is.
So you're not bankrolling the challenge with the $150 million according to Google?
No.
Okay, I mean, I'm just asking the questions people want to know, okay? And this is what they want to know. My man, Adam Leviton, big shout out to Adam. He actually submitted a question. He says, why didn't Phil just go into the back end to run it once and turn on God mode for the challenge? I think that's a great question, Phil.
We don't have the thing is, like, the way that random number generators work, you can't just turn up. There's no way to turn on God mode. Otherwise, obviously I would have.
Okay.
But you can't just be like, give this player better cards, because it
doesn't work that way.
That doesn't work that way.
Okay,
no.
Well, we don't know. We don't know how that works. I don't know. That's why we ask the questions, because we don't know how it works. So you can't actually do that.
No.
Okay. So obviously during this downswing, you've talked a lot about it, and a lot of people out there have resonated and related to it because they all go through downswings. If you had to sort of give a piece of advice, right, on how somebody could process their thoughts, how they can think about it during a downswing, and sort of sum up maybe some of the thoughts you put out from the notes and maybe put up there in audio form, what would kind of be your advice or your the thing you'd recommend for a lot of poker players out there all around the world?
I think the most, well, this is going to sound funny. Well, everybody thinks I'm delusional, but I think the most important thing in a lot of areas of poker, but especially downswings, is self-awareness. You need to know when you're focused, when you're not focused, when you are playing to win or playing to not lose. And you need to know what works for you. You know, for some people, just grinding through is what works for them. For others, you have to take a break. For some, studying when they're on a downswing makes them feel better. It really is, everybody's different. And so you need to know what works for you. And in order to do that, you need to be honest with yourself, which is something that I think a lot of poker players have trouble with, because, you want to believe that, you want to believe you're a great player. You want to believe that, you're not swayed by emotion, that you can think logically and just play the hands the way they're supposed to be played. And I mean, the fact of the matter is nobody's unaffected. Everybody tilts in one way or another. And it's different in everybody. Like I've never, I don't know, you're playing with somebody and they lose a hand and they just slam the table. So they're just so angry.
Right.
I can't relate to that. I've never had the urge to slam a table. Like I've never had that kind of like the feeling that makes you want to do that. So I don't tilt in the way of like anger, but I will, like in this case, I've, gotten scared, or I'll autopilot. But everybody's different. And, depending on the way that you tilt, and kind of the different triggers that you're susceptible to, it's just like, it's tough to give unique or generalized advice because everybody is unique.
Yeah, I think that's, what you said, though, is something really being self-aware and really trying to understand, is my play being affected here? Am I playing not my A game? And then if I'm not, knowing how to recover from that, whether that is through taking time off or dropping down stakes or playing in a little bit softer game or playing a different game type, maybe talking with somebody, maybe going through watching, having a conversation with someone to get you excited. And I think there's a number of different things that you can do to bring your mindset back to being focused and playing your best. I think ultimately for me personally, right, it was just needed to take time off and needed to talk with people and say like, hey, am I seeing this right? Am I thinking about this right? And that's an advantage you have, or someone like me has, is that we know a lot of other great players. We can look and say like, hey man, can I just run this thought process through you? And I think if you have friends, and that's why having friends who play poker in your life is so important, because when you're feeling like this, you get to talk to them and say, yo, am I delusional right now? I mean, and they'll be straight with you and they'll be honest with you and they'll say like, yeah, that was a pretty fucking bad play or whatever it is, right? Or you're thinking about this wrong or whatever. And that is what the power of the community you have is that you lean on them for support when you need it. And that's why if you don't have that community and you don't have people who are able to provide positive energy and uplift you in these type of moments when you're winning, and even when you're losing, but even when you're winning, ultimately long term, I don't think you're necessarily going to make it as a poker player. And if you do, you probably aren't enjoying what you do, because you need to have that community in your life in order for you to feel great about what you're doing, to be happy with what you're doing. I think a lot of poker players struggle with that in general because they don't know how to find it. And if they do find it, they don't know how to sustain it in their life.
Yeah, well said. I think community is super, super important. Yeah.
Amen.
Nothing to add. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Been thinking about this stuff a lot, man. I'm telling you, studying, thinking about it a lot.
Tell, yeah.
I like Ricky. Joey. I like Ricky. Shout out Ricky. We got a lot of comments there. A lot of donations for 5 Canadian. There was one for 50 Swedish. I don't really know exactly how much it equals in American. I'm just going to assume it's $2,000. So thank you very much. I appreciate all the comments on there.
So the college fund, right?
We'll put it towards the college fund.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I was thinking about making a special Galfond challenge T-shirt, like a tank top hoodie, where we put it towards the potential electricity fund to keep the lights on over there in your Vancouver apartment. So I've been thinking about that, but I guess so. Look, moving forward, right? Where are we going with things? When's the challenge going to take place next, and when can we see you back on the tables and back on the felts?
So it's I'm still talking to Bill Perkins about when we're going to start. It's a little bit up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance we start as soon as a few days from now, but we might not. And then the Veni Vidi challenge will resume like in the first couple days of March if I decide to continue with it.
Okay.
Which is, I still haven't decided. I would say that I'm leaning more towards continuing than not, but that's not a promise. We'll see. If that does not happen, then the next challenge will be Chance Corneth, and that will start basically as soon as he's ready to, which I believe he would have been ready in like the second week of March, but he might need more notice than like 1 week notice. So I don't know exactly, but I need to make my decision and go from there. But definitely, at the latest in early March, I'll be back playing against somebody.
Great, man. I think people are really looking forward to that. I know I am. One of the guys in the chat says, I'm Veni Vidi. I'm enjoying this talk so much. If it's actually Veni Vidi, send me a text right now, and we'll see if it is. But like I said, guys, me and Vinny are talking. We're going to do something together, right? I think it's just, not really want to put out the public identity of who he is. I can understand that. Big challenge, money at stake. We don't know exactly what's going on in the Veni Vidi world. But at the same time, we're going to do something together. I'm either going to send him some questions. I'll transcribe something because I think the guy also really wants to support the challenge here as well, too. Obviously, he's had a lot of success through the challenge, so I think he wants to contribute as well. And people have a lot of questions about who this guy is. What's he doing? Is he really have one tied handcuffed to his computer chair where he's been working out at his game? And I think, but also you got to give this guy a lot of credit and a lot of respect because this is a guy who's honed his game, who's worked on his game, who's been doing this now for many, many years to be able to get to this point. And let's not take anything away from the type of work and the type of preparation and the type of effort that this man has put into dedicating his life to the game of poker and the game of Potluck Omaha, the great game. And I think you got to give this guy credit. You don't want to sell this guy short just because Phil Galfond isn't able to take this guy down. Doesn't mean that Phil Galfond is not a great player. And it just goes to show you of how much we should say, wow, okay, let's take a look at this guy and let's really respect the effort and the results and the success he's had as well, too. So you do want to congratulate him and be impressed by what we've seen from him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's played really well. Mm-hmm. And it's another thing that, like, I mean, people don't know, obviously, but, I talked to him. We set up matches. He's been obviously he's been like very friendly because he's crushing me, but he was friendly anyways. And he's been really helpful. Like, he's supportive of Run It Once and what we're doing. And, there are sometimes some inconveniences like, hey, we got to start a little bit late because the stream's not ready or this and that. And he's been very, he's worked with me and Run It Once very well. He's supportive of what we're doing. So I really appreciate it, even though he's taken all my money.
Yeah. Let me run through a few more topics I wrote down here, and then we're going to talk about some new things. RunItOnce.com, the training site, has in order. A new announcement today came out that I think a lot of Potluck Omaha community and yourself is excited about as well, too. We're going to get into that as well. So let me run through a few of these things I got over here. How are you feeling right now with, everyone's eye? I mean, Phil, a lot of eyes are on this thing, bro. I mean, does that pressure get to you at all, right? I think that we like to think that we're these machines and we can kind of handle our emotions pretty well. But does the pressure get to you when you have all these people chiming in with their thoughts, positive, negative, supportive, unsupportive, and you have all your friends and family that are worried about you? I was listening to Jay Kuhn recently on the podcast, Poker Central podcast with my man Remco and my man Brent. Shout out to those guys. I was just on there yesterday talking with them about the challenge a little bit. And he's talking about, he's still, as a friend, right? He's still worried about you and he's still worried about how you're doing. And I think a lot of people out there are. And how do you process that all that? How do you take all that in and how do you move that to the side in order to put your focus on the task at hand and with your business and with poker?
Yeah. I mean, the support's awesome. And there are some negative comments out there, but for the most part, everybody's been really supportive and, rooting me on, worried about me. I don't want people to be worried about me. I mean, it's going poorly. And, it's hard, but I've had plenty of downswings throughout my career, and it's nothing I'm not used to. it's tough in like, being on a big stage like this. I did want to put my best foot forward, but if there were no such thing as runofonce.com, the training site, I really wouldn't care at all what people thought of my game. It's never like, I'm not immune to criticism. Like I would consider myself fairly sensitive, but I've never cared at all if somebody said I am bad at poker. It just doesn't,
Right.
Whatever people think about my poker game doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. But obviously I, run a training site as well. And I would like to, put my best foot forward for that reason. But yeah, no, the pressure is there, but it's not so much all eyes on me. It's not affecting me as much as you might think. The hardest thing about it is like, I had these 4 months of challenges and I was so excited to just play 4 months of high stakes poker, heads up PLO, like day in, day out. And, I had very high hopes about getting my game to a really good point and then having great results. And so the hardest thing has actually just been, as I kind of said in the post, like that kind of, I was just so excited and so looking forward to this and had such high hopes at how it was going to go. And it's gone differently. So it really has been more about the actual poker than worrying about what people are saying or thinking.
Definitely makes sense. The other question here I got submitted to me: how much people keep asking about if you have all yourself during these challenges, and now we covered that on the podcast we did before the challenge started, and you said that you had all of yourself in the match, and that some of the side bets you were selling action of. And is that still the case in terms of what's happening right now?
Yes.
Okay, so you have all of yourself in the actual challenge itself in terms of what happens at the tables, wins and losses.
Kind of. I have the majority.
Kind of. Okay. So you sold a little bit of action?
Yeah, no, well, what I said last time, I believe, is that I have the majority of my action, and I've hedged in the side bets,
Right.
especially the longer odds side bets, and that's still the case. It's tough too because like I don't have all of everything, but I also have extra action. Like I've got other side bets. Like it. Yeah, sorry, the sun is getting really annoying. I'm sure you can see it.
I can see it. I'm like, what's happening here with this light? I mean, is there we got a blind up there. Maybe you heard of blinds these days. I don't know.
I do. This is as well as they can protect.
Down 900,000. We don't got a button we can push. Dude.
No.
Put them down or something like that. No. Okay.
If I hadn't lost, maybe I could have installed something, but at this point,
I listen. They've been donating about $35 during the chat during here. I can happily put it towards the blind fund if we want to get the automated blinds here.
I need automated blind fund and an electricity fund.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. In short, I have
it's blinding them. It's I can't see. It's right in his eye.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Okay, here.
It's okay, man. Hey, if you can overcome the challenge, you can overcome a little sunlight. It's okay. Let's fight through this one. Yeah. Come on. We got this.
Anyways, yeah, I have the majority of my action.
Yeah, okay. So you have the majority of your action. There might be some extra side bets that might even pump the action up even more.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. I like that a lot. Okay. Do you think it would have been smarter? Yeah. People keep asking about the multi-table tournaments and sit and goes. When are the multi-table tournaments and sit and goes? Is there a rough estimation in terms of when that might be going down?
So the sit and goes probably would have been out now if not for the challenge, because we kind of had to put a lot of things on hold and tell the team, hey, we need private player pools. We need observable tables. Like there are a lot of things that they had to get together quickly for the challenge. So they had to pivot. So sit and goes are next up, and I've been so distracted. I don't know exactly when they'll be out. There are still some things that the team's working on for the challenge, because like we have basically V1 observable tables, which is that we can get like an observer view so that they can stream it, but not everybody can observe. So they want to work on that so everybody can observe within in the client, and a couple other challenge related things. But yeah, sit and goes are next. MTTs are still a ways away. and there's has been and still is work going on in the background, kind of leading up to it, including the sit and go work. Obviously, like a lot of the logic you use for a sit and go, you can use for multi-table tournaments. But yeah, sit and goes would have been done by now if not for the challenge. But I think the challenge has been a good thing and worth it. And I hope sit and goes are out in the near future, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people would say, why waste time on sit and goes as well too? Why not just go to tournaments when I mean, listen, that's the biggest game type. That's the most popular game type. That's the game type a lot of people want to play that are recreational players. So why would they go to the sit and goes? Why not just
it's a good question,
right?
I can answer that. Firstly, like I was saying, sit and goes kind of get you part of the way to multi-table tournaments. So it's not like wasted work, just going sit and goes and then you're starting from scratch on multi-table tournaments. We also, like our cash games, we have unique ideas for sit and goes and for MTTs. And the MTT idea is kind of ambitious. And actually we're maybe reconsidering it and maybe thinking of launching with traditional MTTs and then building our own idea later. But the other reason is that as a small site, like MTTs, you need liquidity.
Yeah.
And like, it's not that exciting to launch MTTs and have 14 people in the player pool, and, $1,000 guarantees. And like you're not going to be able to compete on MTTs as a small site. So I think it makes sense to, I would rather have them.
I think there'll be more than 14.
Sure. I would rather have them than not have them.
Yeah.
But I do think that as a smaller site, sit and goes can contribute more in the early days. And just like the logic you use for sit and goes, you need all of that for MTTs and you need more, because for MTTs, you need the table combining logic and et cetera, et cetera. But for both, you need the, blinds and antes logic, increasing logic. You need the like elimination, and then they're not playing for real dollars. They're playing for tournament chips. And then based on the place they finish, they get some money. So like all of it's working towards MTTs, but then MTTs has more. It has the scheduling, it has the combining tables and things like that.
That's true.
So it's not like if we skipped sit and goes, we'd be about to launch MTTs. It would still take a lot longer because it's just bigger.
Well, I know that's a popular question, and I know, Phil, we got about 10 more minutes left. So Alex Wang sent me some questions. Chris George, I had written down here. My man Todd, shout out Dandruff, shout out Poker Fraud Alert. He sent me some stuff as well to ask too. I kind of tried to cover most of that as well, and hopefully I covered a lot of you guys' questions and thoughts that you had about the challenge and about Phil. We're going to be doing more of these podcasts over the challenge as well too, guys. So if you guys do have questions in those future ones, you can let me know. And I know Phil gets
we'll have to plan the time of day around the sun.
Yeah, so Phil, listen, can we get a blind? I mean, I'll bring a curtain over. Like I'll text someone in Vancouver right now. They'll bring a curtain there. We put the curtain there.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. This is okay.
I'm okay now.
Okay. I see what's happening here. It's like being at a baseball game, right?
Yeah.
You're in the sun. You're watching your kid play. Spence is out there hitting off the tee. I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the chat, and now if this is not the sickest story I've ever heard, this might be my last pod. My man says you got a sick Aussie Matt story, and he said it about 15 times. Phil Galfond, do you have a sick Aussie Matt story?
I mean, not like story. I mean, there's some hands that...
This guy's going on and on about a sick Aussie Matt story in my chat for the past 15 minutes, and Phil doesn't have a sick Aussie Matt story.
I mean, there's one hand that was...
Aussie Matt story or riot?
there's a hand that he played that was very funny. It was an Aussie Matt versus JRB hand.
Okay.
But it's pot limit triple draw hand. So JRB's, we're playing at Aria. It's a big bet mix, so it's like 10, 12 games, all no limit pot limit. And JRB's in Ivy's room with like that game, the no limit game that he runs. And he comes out and he's tilted and he's like, I'm such a good host that too many people showed up, so I just gave up my seat. They are just playing without me. That's how good a host I am. And then he sits down in our game. And in like the second hand he played, he opened So it's polymer triple draw. You know the rules of triple draw. He opened. Matt 3-bet out of the blinds he called. Matt drew 3. JRB drew 2. Matt potted dark. Okay. So he's a card behind, pots dark.
Okay.
JRB calls. Matt draws 2. JRB draws 1.
Okay.
Matt pots dark again, which is an absurd play at this point. And JRB shoves. Matt calls and draws 1, and JRB has an 8-6, and Matt loses twice. But it's not like that sick of a story. It's a very funny hand, but I don't know.
I feel like if you told that story differently, it'd be a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay, the way you told it, you didn't like the story, so why would anyone else like? You gotta like believe in that.
I mean, no, it was a really fun hand, but
you gotta believe in that story. Like we don't understand how ridiculous is the guy's pot and how out of line is that? Like, how out of character you know what I mean? We're trying to figure. But I agree. I think if you understand the triple draw, it's kind of sick. But
it's sick if you understand triple draw. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like he pots blind and he pots blind again.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's but no.
I had a funny hand too.
That might have been the sick story though. My man Dokatur is talking about. You know what I mean? I don't know. So all right, we got to wrap this up soon. She's on our meeting. So let's talk about the new product. Pot, what's it called? Pot Limit Omaha. What's it actually
Vision.
Called? Vision.
Yeah, it's Vision.
Okay, so it was a product that already existed as well, because I know I've seen it around for a while and I've tried it out as well too. So now you guys are combining forces, and what exactly is it? Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so Vision is currently just Pot Limit Omaha.
Okay.
6 max and heads up.
Okay.
And it's essentially just like a super fast, easy way to browse optimal solutions without the kind of headache and I don't know, annoyingness of a solver.
Okay.
So I think that probably the best thing to do is just go to runatonce.com/vision, and there's an 8-minute video that I walk through it, because it's really hard to explain just how awesome it is. But it's really, like, for somebody like me, I hate solver work. It's super clunky and not very user friendly. There's a steep learning curve and all the stuff you have to do. It takes time to run sims and all these things. And so for me, it's fantastic to just I can look at a hand I played. I was a customer before we partnered with them, and just absolutely love the product. And we've made some small improvements. We'll be making more improvements along the way as we've kind of joined forces. But you play a hand, you just
put it in
Vision, put it in, you get your answer.
Sounds like seconds. You might be able to use this for Veni Vedi, huh? That's what people. Might be beneficial. But then he uses it. It's a problem. I see an issue here, right? But this would be good. This is a great way to study, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's a fantastic way to study. And I wish that I studied some with it, but not as much as I should have.
Well, I'm gonna be using this when I play you, so you best believe, man.
Should.
I'm ready. A lot lower stake. Maybe we play our challenge for a challenge, right? Maybe one of us has to jump off the Sears Tower or something like that with a parachute. I don't know if it's called the Sears Tower anymore in Chicago, but maybe losers got to jump off the stratosphere. I don't really want to do that. It's maybe something like that, a little more extreme, right? I ain't trying to lose $1 million when you're all warmed up, man. Come on.
Yeah. You'll have to if you lose, you can
have to get backed by the
move to Canada and stream on Run It Once.
It's actually probably a pretty good deal for everybody involved. So, okay. So what was the other thing you got going on here, Phil? You got 2 more, right?
No, I already talked about the Run It Once poker offers.
Okay.
So if for people that didn't catch it, free €10, $10.
Free €10. Okay.
If you have
just make an account right now. Go to Run It Once.
Just make an account right now.
Right now, $10. Okay.
$10. And then the €50, 50% up to €50 instant deposit bonus on top of your 100% deposit bonus. This is all through the end of the month, and we're giving back a whole bunch of rake back throughout the month. It's 51% through Splash the Pot, 10 to 45 plus through Legends program, and so it's if you play high volume, we'll probably get 100% ish rake back for the rest of the month. We have my man Kevin Rabashow.
Shout out Kevin.
is shout out to Kevin. He's going to be playing and streaming on Run It Once Poker 24th and 25th of this month. And there's a Stack Kevin promo. So if you're playing against him, you win 100 big blinds or more from him in a pot, you get 25 big blinds up to €25. In addition to obviously taking his money in the game. And yeah, Vision just launched last night on runotonce.com, and I'm super excited about it. It's just like, I mean, like I can't take any credit for it. I think we're good at like designing, like making things look good and designing like UX, but he already like our partner just like is awesome at UX. It's just a really intuitive, easy to use program.
That's cool. Yeah, it sounds like something to be excited about. Obviously, that promotion is great as well too. So I think people, if they're going to play, they'll be excited about that. And get the rake back. Obviously, rake back's great, especially if rake's a little higher at lower stakes. It's always any money you can get back is a very beneficial to you as a player trying to learn and trying to make it in the world as well. And plus, you get to support Phil, support his challenge as well. And I think it's a good cause. People are talking about me. People are talking about me laughing at my joke. I mean, guys, for fuck's sakes, it's been an hour and a half podcast. If I want to laugh at my own joke, it's my fucking channel. I'm going to laugh at my joke if I want to. I mean, come on, man. I laugh at if you're not laughing at yourself, come on, man. You got to laugh at your own jokes once in a while. These people out here, Phil, I can't believe them. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up with Phil Galfond. I appreciate Phil taking the time out to join us here on the podcast as well. Thank you, Phil, very much. Guys in the chat, guys out there, thank you very much. This guy just tuned in. He said, this guy, Sportsfish, just tuned in and said, is this guy going to ask Galfond some tough questions about the challenge? Listen, brother, we're an hour and a half in. You tuned in late. You're tuning in at the end tail of things when we're talking about Phil Galfond's site, all right? So calm the fuck down. Rewind back to the beginning. Get your head in the game and listen to the answers to those tough questions because the tough questions came in, or at least some general questions. It is what it is. So, guys out there, I love everybody out there. Be back on Friday, podcast Brad on 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to follow Phil, stay up to date on the challenge, you can follow Phil Galfond on Twitter, and you can follow Run It Once Poker on Twitter. They'll be keeping you up to date. And whenever that next time starts up, whenever we get a decision on the Veni Vidi challenge, and whenever the Bill Perkins or Chance Kornuth challenge number 2 starts, you can find updates here on my YouTube channel. I'll be keeping track of what's happening, post it on my Instagram, keep you guys up to date because I'll be following along as well too. So that's what I got. That's it. Phil, give him some parting words.
Appreciate the support and the excitement about the challenge. I'll do my best to put on a better show going forward.
Well, I mean, I think we appreciate it no matter what, brother. It's. I mean, I'm grateful that you decided to put this on. I wish the results were better, but I know in the future, no matter what happens, money comes and goes, right? But it's the other things that we do in our life.
It's basically impossible for them to continue to be this bad. So it's only up from here or down slower,
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen, guys. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. Peace out. Take care.